family is out on the streets of Lagos today, and we are not just out, we are out at Ikeja to be precise. We saw people wanting to protest. We want to ask them what is going on really, and we got to know that some places in Lagos have been getting demolished by the Lagos state government. Places like Makoko, places like Owode Oniri, they have been demolished by Lagos State, and they've rendered a lot of people homeless. So we want to ask people how this has affected families, children, and other people. My name is Oluwaferomi. I'd like to know you, sir.
Yeah, my name is Azan Taiwo Soweto.
Okay, so how do you relate to what is going on here?
Well, I'm an activist and I'm one of the organizers of today's protest. The protest has been organized by the Coalition Against Demolition, Forced Eviction and Land Grabbing in Lagos State, which is like a federation of all communities facing land grabbing and forced eviction in Lagos State, as well as society organizations and socialist groups that are in solidarity with them. And why we are here today, is to highlight the ongoing crisis in our communities, especially Makoko, Utumara, Sogoro, Wode Oniri, Ajegunle, Mile 12, as well as several other communities in Lagos State where bulldozers are right now demolishing people's homes, tear gas being thrown at residents to chase them away. This is December last year when bulldozers moved into Makoko. Since January 6th or thereabouts of this year, the demolition has even become a daily affair. And what you have now is a situation where over 20,000 people are now displaced in Makoko itself, with thousands just sleeping in their canoes because they've got no house anymore. Children in Makoko, school children, are not able to resume school at all today, at all this year, because the Lagos State government has also demolished their schools, demolished clinics and healthcare facilities. In the process of this demolition, the police have used excessive force, including the throwing of tear gas, shooting of live bullets. So that in Makoko you have about 12 casualties, including a very old one and a 5-day-old baby. At least 2 babies are dead right now in Makoko because of the annihilation, or asphyxiation from the tear gas fumes. And the same also goes for Shuki, where since November last year, you've had demolition, destroyed thousands of buildings, rendered tens of thousands homeless, and you also have about 35 people killed. At Owode Oniri market, the traders, the spare part marketers are also facing cost eviction. The police have also deployed heavily over the past few months in that place, killing people. In fact, we have about 6 traders in the morgue. Right now at Owode Oniri, they've been in the morgue for the past few months because they were shot and killed by the police while trying to, force them out of their place of work. It's the same thing with Ajegunle, where the Ojora family, in cahoots with the Lagos State government, is also trying to steal people's land, to steal people's houses. So that what we really have in Lagos State today, and that's why we are out, is a war against the poor. The Lagos State government is at the head of that war. And the message is very clear. The poor have no place in Lagos State. Lagos is only for the rich. And that is why one of the plans they have for all of these places where they are demolishing is to replace poor residents, with rich folks, who can afford the big hotels, the big high-rise buildings, the condos they plan to build in all of these places. I mean, we already have the architectural plan for what would replace Makoko when Makoko is eventually forcefully, evicted. You have a company, PBT Cora, which has already, gotten the concession of Makoko on Lagos State government, paid a lot of money to the Lagos State government, and they already have a design for the kind of luxurious buildings they want to build here. Something which means that none of the people are evicted from Makoko, from Ajegunle, from Oshoki or Wode Oniri today will be able to afford those properties. Oh, sorry. So what we have really is a situation of forced eviction of the poor in favor of the rich. It is what you call gentrification. The rich taking over the lands of the poor and utilizing the state to carry out that theft. And that is why we say that we have to stand against it. We are here today with all of the communities. We are saying that we even need far more mobilization than what we're able to do. But this is a matter that concerns everyone, concerns the poor in Lagos State, it concerns the workers, the civil servants. And that's why the trade unions, the NSC and teams ought to be involved in this kind of campaign, because at the end of it, all of these issues of demolition is fully linked to the rising rent price in Lagos State today. The housing market today is something that ordinary workers like ourselves, can no more afford. The poor, the workers have been priced out of the housing market, out of the rent market. And this is linked to the ongoing demolition, because even right before now, statistics says that Lagos State has a deficit of about 20 million houses, a deficit. That is, you need about 20 million houses more in Lagos State or thereabout to be able to fill the gap in the housing market. But now, instead of filling that hole, the Lagos State government is going ahead to even destroy the houses of those who have a little roof over their heads. So today's protest will say enough is enough to that, to say no to that, and to demand that Lagos State government should stop the ongoing demolition. More so that these demolitions are even a contravention of existing court orders. There are several court orders, whether here at the Federal High Court in Lagos State or even at the Supreme Court, which clearly contravenes what Lagos State government is doing at the moment. In fact, there's a Supreme Court judgment that states very, very clearly that the Lagos State government, no state government, has power over inland waterways. Over no state government. There's a Supreme Court judgment, let me repeat myself, that says that no state government has power or authority over inland waterways. What inland waterways refers to are those lagoons that you see all over Lagos State and the communities around them. So the only authority over those places is the NIWA, the national agency. National. I'll get the full name, NIWA. But that is the only agency that has power in terms of policies and regulation, of the inland waterways, regardless whether it is the businesses of waterways or the buildings or the buildings on the side of the water. No state government, because water is a natural resource that is in the exclusive list. And there is that Supreme Court judgment, which the Lagos State government is flouting. That is aside from numerous court orders that Makoko has got a few years ago. In fact, there's a court order that Makoko got, Makoko Soguru and other communities, where the Federal Court of Lagos State actually asked the Lagos State government to stop any further eviction, and said that very clearly that any eviction without plan for resettlement is a crime against humanity, and also awarded 3.5 million naira against the Lagos State government on behalf of those communities. Lagos State government has not paid that money, and still continue to carry on the demolition. Owosoki too have got the court orders. Ajegunle have got the court orders. Owodo Enuri is in court, so that in the real sense of it, what you are having here today is not just a crime against humanity. It's also a clear disregard for the laws of the nation, for the court that Lagos State government is. So why we are here really is to highlight all of this and to say enough is enough. Lagos State government must stop this war against. We are not against development, mind you, but development is about the people. Development is about human progress. So if you want to develop any area, there must be collaboration with the people. Even where people have to be removed from a certain area because you want to set up certain things that will be of benefit to you, then there must be a resettlement plan and adequate compensation. But right now, that is not what we are having. In fact, beyond that is the fact that what you want to replace this with, it's not even something that is a public benefit. When PBT Cora build up Makoko, none of us would have a place there. It's going to be just like a co-atlantic, that very golden island where only the rich, can. Meanwhile, in the past in this country, when government needed to remove people from certain areas because of development, to see the reasons for such areas. And I'll give you several examples. If you look at Abuja today, which is now the federal capital territory, it wasn't always the federal capital territory. Before now, Lagos State was the federal capital territory. Then under the Babangida government, the federal capital territory was transferred from Lagos State to Abuja. And for Abuja to play that role, the Babangida government entered into a negotiation with the aborigines of Abuja and agreed to a resettlement plan. So the Gwari people are the original inhabitants of Abuja. And they were discussed with, they were researched We did not have a situation where police and soldiers were deployed to start flogging people and tear gassing them so that the government can establish a federal capital territory. However, beyond that is the fact that the federal capital territory is actually a public investment. It's a public good, right? Many of the first generation universities you have today, public universities, were sited on people's cocoa land or people's cashew land, whether in OAU Ile-Ife or in Unilag here or in University of Ibadan in Ibadan. These were people's land. So government also had to enter into negotiations with the buyers. But where I'm going is that this kind of development, they were even about public good. So it was easy for people to say, okay, you can take my cocoa land because I know that my children, great grandchildren will benefit from it. What Lagos State government is doing is far from that. It is removal of people in order to have rich people, developers, friends and cronies of Governor Sanwo-Olu come and invest in these places, build hotels, build high-rise buildings that no poor person in Lagos can be able to afford. So it's actually ethically wrong. What Lagos State government is doing, apart from the fact that it's contravenes the law, and it's also in many ways an illegal act that is happening.
There were allegations of death while the process was going. Do you actually speak number of lives lost?
We do.
And secondly, has the organization have any sort of audience in government?
They have not. This is the first audience we are going to have with them. So that's why we are matching them. We don't want to have an audience in air condition because the people we are speaking for are living and sleeping on cables. They've been doing that in Akoko for the past 2 weeks now. So that's why we are taking this protest from here to Alausa to have that engagement with them.
Are you matching to state assembly?
Yes. Yes, but in terms of the dead, we have not just the numbers, we have the names. And we're also going to display their pictures by the time the protest starts. So the media, we are going to see the faces of those who are dead. Some of them, you see their pictures before they were dead, and the pictures of their dead body. We are going to have all of them distributed through. So this is not something we are just saying. We have pictorial evidence. Some of their families are also going to be around to speak to them.
You don't have numbers.
12, I gave the numbers earlier. 12 in Makoko, about 35 in Oshiki, 6 in Wodioni. So far.